Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day, whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening. I'm glad you're here. First off, quick shout out to the channel members. I want to thank you guys so much. I appreciate your support, and I want to thank everybody who comes by and watches the videos, who visits the channel. All I ask is if you get the chance and are so inclined, please hit that subscribe button down below and the bell notification icon. It really helps me out. So today what I wanted to do is go across and go through the top 10 slip joints in my collection in 2023. And if you guys are new to the channel, you wouldn't know this. And if you've been around the channel, no, you would know this. But I did not get my first slip joint until about 6 or 7 months ago. It was something that I resisted for a really long time. And then I picked up a slip joint. I think the first one I picked up was the Ohio River Jack, which didn't make this list. Picked up several Rough Riders, Rough Rider Reserves, because they're such a good value, like this one. The little Boker I just showed. Picked up several of these Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusives made in Soligen, Germany. Different patterns. This happens to be the little Barlow clip point with micarta handles and copper bolsters, up to these more modern old school favorites like the Penguin that was one of the first flipper knives that I had. However, this is a QSP Penguin slip joint. Again, the difference being it's not a locking knife, but it has a very strong half stop. In some cases it won't, but it is one that is held into place by the spring in the back, and then you push on it with pressure to get it to close up. So that was just to give you a little idea on what slip joints are, how I came to like slip joints, and now we are going to look at my top 10 slip joints that are in my collection. I would say in 2023, but I didn't have a slip joint before 2023. So the first one coming in at number 10 is a modern slip joint, and this is the MKM Root. The MKM Root is a really neat little slip joint with a super thin blade, very, very sharp M390 blade. It has aluminum handles. It does have screwed together assembly. However, I wouldn't want to take these apart because these springs are under tension. But you'll notice it's got a little lanyard loop there. It is just a really well done little knife. It is felt a little loose. It's got about a 4 pull. You rate that between 10 being very hard to open. This one's very stable. I don't have to worry about it shutting when I'm using it, as long as I'm aware that it's a slip joint. It's a great secondary carry, and that's how I carry my slip joints. I carry them in my left pocket, typically in a little slip. Sometimes I do have a few that have pocket clips, but they are a backup carry, and again, they're very sharp. This one's very thin. It's MKM, which means it's manufactured over in Italy. And coming in at number 10, we have the MKM Root. Really like it. Came with this little magnetic sheath. But we will move on. Coming in at number 9, we have another Italian-made knives from Viper Knives that comes with the slip. This is the Viper Twin. The Viper Twin is another modern traditional. Modern being it uses modern materials, screwed together construction, not pin construction. Modern blade materials. In this case, you've got M390, you've got micarta, you've got these little finger grooves, and you've got what I feel is just a very sexy, traditional looking gentleman's folder that's not going to be threatening because it doesn't flip open. It doesn't open with a button. It's just a traditional, like Grandpa had, slip joint. However, it works very, very well. It is up to daily tasks, and for most of the urban EDC tasks that I find myself completing, whether that's opening a package, cutting a little bit of paracord, or just doing light work, a slip joint will pretty much cover those tasks. However, I always carry a modern folder too because I'm a knife addict. But number 9, we have the Viper Knives, or the Viper Knives Twin. Coming in at number 8. This is the second slip joint that I added to my collection. I actually purchased this before the Ohio River Jack that I ordered from Traditional Pocket Knives arrived. I ordered this QSP Hedgehog. The QSP Hedgehog really attracted me because it has a 14C 28N blade, but it is a deep hollow grind. So this knife, I don't know if you can see that hollow grind. Very thin behind the edge. This knife starts out, if you choose micarta handles, right around $55. If you choose carbon fiber, I want to say it was closer to 80 or 90. But it is just a great slicer, a joy to carry. The spring and walk and talk on it, as people refer to them as, is very good, very stable. I can get my whole hand on it to pick it up. It does have this long nail nick. What I love about this particular little sheep's foot is it does have a very pokey tip, so it's really great for getting into packages or where you have to do those small piercing cuts. Again, it is a slip joint, so these knives don't lock, but if you use them knowing that you've got that spring tension and you use them responsibly, you're not going to have any problems with them. Again, guys, I tell you this like a guy that 6-7 months ago would not have clicked on this video, had no interest in slip joints. Keep your mind open. You might find one that suits you, and you might go down a whole nother type of knife that you can supplement your EDC with, and keep it in your left pocket, and have a knife that you can let somebody use or that you can break out around the office where you're not trying to draw attention to yourself with the flipper. But number 8 is the QSP Hedgehog. I can highly recommend that knife. Coming in at number 7 is one of my more unique knives, probably the thinnest knife in my collection, and a knife that I really love. The only thing that keeps me from carrying this more than I do is it is a larger slip joint. It's a little bit different in that it has a half stop, but it also has these little ratcheting stops in between the half stop and the full open. So it actually ratchets, but it's a full-size knife that fits my hand with absolutely no hot spots. This handle feels as organic as anything I own. You've got nice contoured or knocked off edges. You've got this carbon fiber scale, titanium or titanium bolster, titanium liners, M390 blade. And again, what sets this knife apart, it's a Maxace, but look at the thinness of that knife. This knife does not even need to be sharpened to cut because the blade is so thin and the blade geometry is done so well. Just to give you an idea, this is a Benchmade bug out. And you can see how much thinner the Beetle is than the Benchmade bug out. This is the Cold Steel 8010. But the Maxace Beetle S has been a fantastic knife. It's a little bit different in that it's a modern slip joint also, has several little ratcheting half stops, but cuts well, carries well, and I really do enjoy this knife. That is the Maxace Beetle S, and it is coming in number 7. So number 6 is my first made in the USA slip joint, and this is really should be higher than number 6, but I did want to spread these out a little bit so they wouldn't all be together by brands. But this is the GEC Great Eastern Cutlery, little number 86 clip point Barlow. I don't have my little tube, or I'd tell you exactly what it was. It says here that it is a, well, we know it's made in Titusville. It is Cyclops Steelworks. It's got GEC on that nickel bolster. Has this beautiful red and black micarta. Nice brass liners. Just or stainless liners. Just a really, really well done knife. Very sharp. I love the clip point blade. It is what I consider a true traditional. These knives are made the way that they used to be made. They utilize a lot of the same equipment that was used back when they were making these knives by hand. These are still made by hand. And again, they're made in the USA. So they are what I consider an heirloom piece, a forever knife. And I'm just blessed to have this in my collection along with a couple of others, and just really find them special. So Great Eastern Cutlery, this particular Barlow right here is just an absolute win, and I love it. And that brings us to number 5, which is another unique modern slip joint that's kind of an unsung hero. I'm surprised these are still in stock at White Mountain Knife Company. I picked this up. They'd been out of stock. They came back in stock, and I picked this little knife up just because I love the look of it. Then I got it in hand, and I realized it's a truly special knife. It is has a very, very strong walk and talk. You've got M390 blade steel. You've got this deep hand satin. It's a night morning design. You can see his maker's mark there. Tucs Sun over here. I'm not exactly sure of the model number, if this is a TS96. I don't think that's it. But anyway, this knife has a fantastic walk and talk. When it's at half step or half stop, it's flush. When it's opened and closed, it's flush. You've got this nice milling on these titanium handles. You've got a lanyard hole for people who like lanyards. And then you've got this real nice fuller that makes it easy to open, which was kind of exposes this modified tanto, if you want to call it that, blade that is a thicker blade, a harder use blade, and a super, super sharp blade. And guys, Tucs Suns are kind of known for being value knives. This knife at White Mountain Knives, when I bought it, and if it's still in stock, has a retail price of $88 for M390 and titanium. You add 10% Javon 10, you can knock off 10%, roughly another $8-9. And this is a great little modern, what I consider slip joint. And I love it. It's the Tucs Sun. I will try to put the name in the description, but I just can't think of it off the top of my head. Moving on, we come to another unique little fantastic small slip joint that doesn't look like any slip joint that you would have ever seen before. This is the QSP Vanish, guys. It has the same body style as the little unique variant PE. However, this one is a slip joint. It has very nice walk and talk. It has a very, very nice hollow ground 20 CV blade, titanium handles, and again, it's a small EDC slip joint. Comes with a slip that I keep in my left pocket. This one gets carried probably as much as any, just because it's so small. It's so easy to pull with that blade hole, and it cuts very, very well, whether I'm opening packages, whether I'm opening letters, you name it. If I need to cut it, this little guy is a banger, and we'll do it. And that is the QSP Vanish, one of the smallest knives in this top 10, and definitely one of my favorites, coming in at number 4. And also great sharpening choil. So moving on, we come to the first Jack Wolf in this top 10, but the second Jack Wolf, or actually the first Jack Wolf that came into my collection. I was on the hunt for a different Jack Wolf that had just been released, and I think, at Smoky Mountain Knives, and this had been a model that I thought was out of stock, but it was in stock, it was back. This is the Jack Wolf Laid Back Jack. It has one of the thinnest hollow grind blades with a shape that I don't know the name of. A lot of you traditional guys will know the shape of that blade, the shape of the knife. I find it just absolutely stunning. It's got gold carbon fiber handles with titanium bolsters, titanium liner. You've got this hand satin or belt satin, hollow ground, drop point blade that really just traps material in the way that it's angled back. It really pulls material into that knife, and it's just a joy to cut with, whether you're cutting fruit, whether you're cutting paper, whether you're cutting cardboard, whether you're cutting into, wood, if you're whittling, if you're doing stuff like that. The Jack Wolves, without a doubt, in my opinion, are the finest modern produced slip joints on the market that I've been exposed to. Fantastic half stop, walk and talk, very, very well put together, extremely tight tolerances, wonderful, wonderful sharpening choil, and just an absolute beauty. So my first Jack Wolf, which comes in at number 3 here, is the Jack Wolf Low Drag Jack. So that brings us to number 2. Guys, number 2 is the first Great Eastern Cutlery that I was lucky enough to get on a drop with a little help from a friend. This is the Yellow Rose 86 Barlow. This is a more recent drop. I say I've had this in the collection for maybe 2 months, maybe 3. It is if I'm not mistaken, a tool steel blade, 1095. It is made in Titusville, Pennsylvania. It has this beautiful dyed bone handle, extremely tight fit and finish, no blade movement. You've got this nice spine that comes down to this swedge on this spear point blade. Very, very sharp. Great for cutting fruit, great for whittling. That was Cutter Air. But the look, the nostalgia, the lead up to me being able to actually find one of these and get one on a fresh drop, the experience unboxing it, the experience carrying it, the fact that it's just perfect in my mind for a slip joint to have a example that's made right here in Pennsylvania like they used to make it in the old days. They don't make a lot of these guys in each pattern, but they are turning out quality. And this is just a fantastic knife. Has a lot of different names. Number 86. It is also known as, let's see if I can read that, because that's the Northfield something what was on the tube. I don't remember what that says. Northfield UN-X-LO, which I don't know what that means, but that was on the tube, and it's also imprinted on the tang of that blade there. But again, a very nice walk and talk, very beautiful knife in my opinion. I'm a huge fan. I keep it in this Lancelot leather clip slip, and it is my number 2 slip joint today, which brings us to number 1. And guys, I wrestled between number 2 and number 1. This was the knife that I'd gone to get when I found the low river jack or the low drag jack, because I thought it was out of stock and this had just been dropped. But this is the Jack Wolf Knives Feelgood Jack. It's an old take on a doctor's knife. You've got that flat end, crush your pills. You've got this super thin, nimble, pokey S90V blade. You've got this thin gentleman's handle that I just think feels great in the hand. You've got this long nail pull that I don't even have to use, but I can get my whole finger on the blade. You've got this nice thick flat stock that swedges out here towards the tip and becomes thinner, but it's so thin behind the edge because it's that deep, deep hollow grind. These little knives, guys, in my experience, and I only have 2, they are the most hypnotic slicers. The sound or lack thereof they make when they go through material and the precision with which they cut. This one, I don't want to do it on my mat, but does fantastic utility cuts. Just an absolute win. And again, like I said earlier when we were looking at the low drag jack, I'm convinced, in my opinion, that for modern production knives, I think Jack Wolf is the best that's offered. But I just discovered Great Eastern Cutlery and am already blown away with the work that they're able to produce, and the fact that they're doing it in small batches in the US really excites me. But most importantly, I'm kind of new to the whole slip joint game, guys. So really, I'm just showing you in my collection the 10 that mean the most to me, right? So let's see, we've got our Feelgood GEC, our low drag, our Cuvist, our clip point GEC, our Tucs Sun, Maxace Beetle, Viper Knives Twin, our QSP Hedgehog, and finally our MKM rig. Guys, those are my top 10 slip joints of 2023. And I'd say fair enough to say of my collection, seeing as I've just started collecting slip joints. I will say this, I have not purchased one in quite a while, which makes me think that maybe I have gotten the bug out of my system and have the slip joints a good enough collection where I feel that I've got my bases covered, but I'm sure something else is going to come up that I'm going to want, and I'll just keep my eye out. But guys, thank you if you've made it this long in the video. Thank you for watching any of my videos. I appreciate all of you more than you know. All I ask is if you'll please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.